They love us when we have bedhead. They love us when we're crabby, possibly even if we're smelly. They love us even if we gain weight or lose a lot of weight. They just live to please us. Do you have any idea who I'm talking about? Well, I'm talking about our cute little pets. Hi, my name is Valerie Bogar, and this is Insight. And I'm here joined with Miss Lori Hood and Catherine Rodriguez with the Alaqua Animal Refuge. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yay! So how about you guys do me a big favor? Lori, can you introduce yourself, and then also could you introduce yourself for all of us, okay?
Sure. I'm Lori Hood. I'm the founder of Alaqua Animal Refuge.
Okay.
And I'm Catherine Rodriguez, and I'm the Community Relations Director for Alaqua Animal Refuge.
Well, welcome. I love animals, so I'm really excited to hear what you all have to say. I've actually volunteered since I was a young girl at the zoo and different places stuff, so I love working with animals. So I'm excited to hear all about your program because I'm sure there's a lot of people who's not really that familiar. So can you just give us a brief history of the Alaqua Animal Refuge?
Sure. So I started the refuge about 8 years ago. I started it because of a need. There was not an animal shelter of any kind in our county. So the animals were being picked up by animal control, but being shipped off to another county, and it was almost 100% euthanasia rate. And that just was not acceptable to me. So I started the refuge, and it was one of those things that as soon as I started it, they started coming in. And the community got behind us, and it just took off. And we started working with local law enforcement and local animal control officers and their organizations, and they now have their own facility. So we work very closely with them as well. But that was, like I said, 8 years ago, and almost 11,000 animals have been adopted since that time.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so it's just been an incredible experience.
Wow, you've done a lot. And Catherine, how did you get involved?
I got involved with Lori as she has done some really amazing things, and you know, a lot of people do know about Alaqua. When you hear about Alaqua Animal Refuge, everyone automatically associates that with Lori and what she's done for the community, and wanting to talk about the programs that Alaqua is doing and being able to highlight some of our really just unique cases that we've had. We've got animals who've had hip issues that are learning how to swim because it's good for therapy reasons. Having animals who may have had part of the paw cut off and getting the research done to being able to locate another organization that can help give prosthetics and making sure that a lot of these animals that have these really horrific backgrounds can have a wonderful story to being able to have a good quality of life, and that's what we're wanting to do for a lot of these animals that we get, and being able to have them adopted and where they're growing up in a happy home.
Oh, wow, that sounds awesome. And I'm really excited to hear about the programs because, I was glancing over because I do like to read over, before the guests come on what you do. And it seems like you'll have a lot of programs that you have, within your organization. But I also understand that you're also known as like matchmakers. So that's kind of cool. So what does that mean and what is that involved with?
Well, we try to go over and above. Like Catherine was saying, we're just not a normal shelter. We, a lot of shelters just do the best they can just to save them and get them into a home. But we go a little over and above that. If you were to come in and you're looking for a dog, we learn all about you first. We try to find out, are you a runner? Are you a, couch potato, that kind of a thing. And then we have an idea of what dogs we have in mind for you, that might be a good match. Because, for example, if you live in an apartment, you wouldn't want to be paired up with a border collie, that needs a lot of exercise and a lot of stimulation, unless you were a runner. And that's not to say you can't adopt a dog that it doesn't fit your category, but we really try to make it the perfect match for the dog and for the family as well.
I think it's a brilliant idea because a lot of people aren't really that familiar with, they just, look at a picture like, oh, I want that one, and maybe they're not really sure. And so it's kind of cool that you go above and beyond with getting people, the right one, because I know a lot of people believe, and I think it is true, that sometimes people get the wrong, pet, and so then they just want to get rid of them so quickly, and they're part of your family, so you can't really get rid of them that quickly. They've already gone fond of you, so it's good that you match them so they can stay with the family.
And we don't want them bouncing back into the system, because one of the worst things for us is to see an animal that has been surrendered to another shelter outside of here and find out it was one of ours. I mean, so that's something that we definitely don't want to happen. So we really try hard from the get-go to make sure it's the perfect match.
That's really good that you do that. And so could you tell me, Catherine, just like a program that you are involved with that you really, within the organization that you really love? Just one of your favorites.
I think our Potterin, I can't say it. Potterins, where we're actually able to get like dogs, where we're really trying to work with the military and getting vets who obviously need a special need. They need a partner. They need somebody that will fulfill that need based on whatever their situation is, or even like our senior citizens. Where we've got that, I think it is free, based on the needs of what they have and being able to have that service available. I think it's great that Alaqua offers that. We've got our unconditional love program, which I'm gonna kind of let Lori talk about that one, but I think it's really just amazing that Alaqua has. It's basically kind of almost dual purpose. One, where you're giving dogs a second chance, and two, working with like inmates with the correctional facilities, where it's giving them a life skill. Oh, wow. So that's something else that Alaqua does, and I'm going to defer to Lori on that because I know that program's kind of near and dear to her. But that's just one of many that Alaqua has that I think the community really needs to learn it and know about.
Well, we learned about dogs that go into the prison system, and the prisoners actually train the dogs, and we thought, what a wonderful, for both the prisoner and the dog. And we have some dogs that have been, bounced through the system, and we get them, and they're maybe a year old, and they're not housebroken, or they don't have basic commands, so they're really difficult to adopt. Right. So initially, we put these dogs into prison. We have trainers that go in, they work with the dogs, they go through a 10-week program where they're housebroken, they know 20 or 30 commands. I mean, they're really highly adoptable. But then we saw where some of the dogs really had some special skills. So we had individuals that were coming to us, like Catherine said, some of them were wounded warriors, some of them are special needs individuals, some of them are in wheelchairs and just need an assistance dog. And they come to us and we match them with a dog. We put the dogs back into prison, and they fine-tune training for that dog just for the individual. And it's we give them to the families free of charge. A lot of the service dogs that they're seeking, they can be $20,000, So we try to do that as just a bonus for, we like to help people and animals, and it's really a win-win for the people that are receiving the animals, the prisoners that are training them, and the dogs that,
helping like 3 people, really. 3 groups, differently. That's really cool with the prisoners and stuff. And I've only seen a couple of those programs like on television, like I watched Lockdown or whatever. And like I've seen some certain, not all prisons, but they do offer something like that. And then what I've seen, it seems to be really helpful, for them. I think any time when you have with an animal, it's really helpful and stuff. So like I've had different pets and stuff. One I've had was actually ferrets. And it's kind of interesting because my mom actually doesn't really like animals so much. She kind of does. But it's funny though, like even when you talk about matching and it doesn't matter, like the funny thing is I found it hilarious is that even though my mom's like, yeah, she likes them at a distance, they're cute, but my ferrets made my mom laugh. Like it didn't matter. Like I was just like, so it looks like you like them, but because they had like this huge thing and they used to dive off, and she's like laughing. She's like, what's wrong with your ferrets? Or they're just funny. But it's just kind of funny that I can help people. So it's kind of cool with prisoners. They're different backgrounds, all this stuff, and then they can calm them down or whatever, and make them happy. And who knows how long they've been there. And
you've never had, it's never, some of the most emotional days I've ever had is going into prison and when they have to give that dog up. And there's big guys covered in tattoos and they're just crying like a baby. And they have been so touched by that animal, and it really changes their life, and they know that they're doing this for the better of another individual too, or a child. So it really makes a difference to them.
That's cool. And we mentioned it before. I actually went on your website and I noticed on the front page, and I noticed about a story of the goats. So I'm kind of curious, like the little background on that one, Catherine.
Oh wow! Last week it was a crazy day, because we ended up having a duck that had an injured leg, and then these goats, and it's a local farmer. Okay. And unfortunately, he's had a pack of coyotes that have come onto the property, and I mean he's killing the herd. And Lori was contacted and gotten the phone call that, hey, we've got a few that are injured. So they brought 2 in, one being a male, the other was a female, and then the other 2 was a mother and her kid,
Right.
and I think it was only a couple days old, that she literally swam across water to get away from the coyotes so she could, you know, give birth to her child.
Wow.
So I mean, that's just as we all understand,
amazing.
being mothers, that
hardcore, yeah.
instinct of what you have to go through, and it is nature, and it's unfortunate, and it happens, and we've gotten a few more in. And one that's pregnant, so Lori was
like
hoping,
twins,
yeah, yeah. So we were any day now, you know, we're all kind of like sitting there gritting teeth, you know, waiting for the newcomers to be part of the family. But being able to give them refuge, it was pretty amazing to be there and seeing the staff, the vet and the vet techs, and you know, the kennel staff of just really just jumping in and cleaning the wounds, getting them shots, you know, getting them sewed up, and making sure the baby was okay, and giving them the appropriate care and medical needs. And
Wow.
it gets costly. We all know that it's all for a great cause, but you know, we've got a lot of people out there that care about what we do, and they care about animals, and we're very thankful for their support. But it's nice, you got this baby goat.
Yeah, they're so cute.
They're
I know.
adorable.
I was actually touched by the story. Like when I heard that, I was like, "Wow, you know, you're like a goat's in labor and you're crossing the water." I'm like, "Wow, that's like a hardcore goat." And then like to give birth, so I thought that was pretty interesting. But is it true that like if anybody's listening and touched by this goat story, like if they could actually donate,
Sure.
you know, specifically to that, or
Absolutely.
how would they go about doing
They
that?
can go to our website at alaquaanimalrefuge.org. Also, the information, what we have posted on our website, is also on our Facebook page. So
Okay.
if they don't already like us, definitely go on, like us. They can find the story. They just click on the link. Same thing with the website.
Right.
They're on the home page. Just click on the link, and then they just fill out the information, and we'll get it. So we're really happy to have any support, and even if it's also too, sometimes people can't always do monetary, but you know, whether it's
volunteer.
the volunteer,
Yeah.
we can definitely use volunteers. There is always something to do, or whether it's pillows or blankets or toys or food. We also have our needs list also on the website as well.
Well, that's cool. I'm sure there's people that would be willing to do that, and didn't even know that was an option to go and volunteer.
And then one of the other cool thing is those that are really into country music, we named the goats all after country musicians. So yeah, and that's kind of a nice thing too, is just when you get an animal, you're like, okay, what do you want to name it?
Well, after 11,000 animals, the naming gets very creative.
Oh my goodness, I bet. I would just be like A, B, C.
We start with A, we go through the alphabet.
Yeah.
So I think we're in the V's now.
Oh, really?
For the 100th time.
Yep.
Well, my name is Valerie. So,
There you go. We can do
you know.
Valerie next. We have to
Born on
remember.
Valentine's Day, you can play with it.
Okay.
Do you know? It's a
can
lot
do
of
it.
stuff. You know, we can go work with that. But we actually have, it's time for break already. It's crazy.
Wow.
But there's other stuff, other programs. There's one equine interaction program, and so I really want to hear more about that. You know, especially with like horses and stuff. So you know, people love horse. I know, especially women. I do. I think they're beautiful, gorgeous. So please stay tuned to hear more about the Alaqua Animal Refuge and more about the programs that they're offered and how you can actually help this great organization. Thanks.
Dudes, what would happen if this guy played a bully and this one played the new kid? Bullying is unpredictable, and depending on how you react, you never know what kind of result you'll get.
New kids should just calmly walk away, find an adult or teacher, and speak up.
Together, we can all stop bullying. Speak up.
Go to stopbullying.speakup.com to find out more.
This PSA brought to you in part by the Cox Southeast Region Diversity Council and Cox Communications.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
Hi, I'm Valerie, and I'm the host of Insight, and we're back. I'm back here with Lori and Catherine with the Alaqua Animal Refuge, and we've talked a lot of different things about the programs that you offer, about the Unconditional Love program, which I thought was really cool with the prisoners, and how they rehabilitate the animals, and then you go out and then you give it to match it with a perfect family, and they are so well trained that they can actually be service dogs or different various things for whatever the family needs. And then we also talked about a cool story with a goat. So I'm really yeah, that was pretty interesting. So we talked a lot of stuff actually off camera, so I'm excited to go into that. So we left off with talking about the Equine Interaction Program, and we're going to start off with that. So Lori, could you explain to me what that program is?
Sure. So all of our programs were evolved from a need that we had at the refuge. So we had a need for some of the horses on property. A lot of times we obviously can't pick who we rescue. It's just something that happens, whether it be a cruelty case or a mass neglect case or something like that, where there's a lot of horses that come in at once, and they're various ages and various stages of being trained. So some of the really old horses are just very gentle, kind, wonderful animals, but just like people, you know, sometimes they don't have teeth. I mean, they have very special medical needs. They're very expensive to care for. And, you know, we have horses literally, like I said, have no teeth, and we have to make a mash for them to eat, you know, because, and it's, you know, almost a liquid diet. And some people, it's very difficult, even for us at the refuge, to have to care for that many animals with so many special needs. So to adopt one, it's a little difficult. And horses like to have a job. So we started thinking, what can we do that they could still have a job and, you know, help us and help people as well. So I had heard about these programs where horses help autistic children mostly, but also special needs individuals. And a horse is, they call them a mirror image, because if you come in and you're mad or you're stressed out, that horse is going to act the same way back to you. So they're very sensitive creatures. So it makes it a perfect learning environment and teaching environment for special needs children, you know, and the autistic children really come in and benefit from that. So a horse is almost, I mean, the barn is almost like a sensory classroom. So there's programs that we have a certified teacher. She brings the children in. She does a specialized class just for that individual child. And it's just, I can't even describe it. It's just the most wonderful thing that I've ever seen. There was a woman that came in and her son had never smiled in public. I mean, she had never seen him smile. And he came 3 or 4 times and he never did smile. And then one day, he got to lead the horse, and it gives me chills thinking about it. He took off walking with the horse and this big smile, and she's crying and we're all crying, and I mean, it is really a magical program. So we're thrilled that we can offer that, and the horses, you can see they're proud that they have a job to do, and it's just a win-win for everyone because it helps children and horses, and it allows us to keep these animals on site, and they kind of earn their keep that way.
Awesome. Another group. Gosh, you're just helping everything, right? Helping everybody. That's really cool, you know, helping with children and stuff, because I know you're going to be working with Youth Village too.
We're very excited about that. So this is the same group of horses, but there's a program that's called Bully in the Barn. Right. So the first time we started talking about doing an anti-bullying program in school, I initially thought, well, wouldn't it be great to do it with dogs, you know, like a bully breed dog? But then when we learned about the horses, it's just perfect. So we're looking forward to bringing that into that group and introducing that and trying to build a curriculum for, you know, all schools around the area too, to you know, push off that anti-bullying campaign.
That sounds really awesome. And Catherine, I noticed on the website too about y'all's mascot. And then the horse. Champ. Yeah. Yes. So, like, I'm kind of curious, like, the background on that.
We love Champ. I mean, because this was kind of actually my introduction to, you know, animal cruelty cases, kind of having a law enforcement background and learning about Champ was our landmark case in Walton County. And
the first one ever prosecuted.
Yeah, the first one ever prosecuted. And, you know, the horse was very malnourished. I think it was, what, 75 pounds?
He was only about 50 pounds when he came in. I could pick him up, and he was full. He was adult.
Yeah, he was so frail. And there's actually a picture that we had to promote that, hey, you know, animal cruelty does happen. It's not just a Walton County issue. It's not just an Okaloosa County issue, and it happens everywhere. And we used that photo of Champ where he was so frail and so weak, he couldn't even stand up.
10 days it took him to stand on his own.
And so with the care that he received coming into Alaqua, and Lori just being very steadfast in her efforts of making the situation known to the community, you know, he was able to eat, and I think now he's what, over 250 pounds, and he's small, but he carries his own weight, and he kind of picks on the bigger horses.
Really?
So yeah, where the other horses kind of know where their place is, and he's just great. So he's actually the first time. Every time it's free to come to Alaqua to get a tour, and I think Champ is our first stop. Yeah, our first stop where everybody can learn about, you know, his situation, and he is a sanctuary animal, so he will always be at Alaqua, and it's an inspiration. It really is. So yeah,
it's really sad sometimes to hear, you know, about like animal cruelty and stuff like that, and then but it's great that you have an organization that you have, you know, to flip that story and turn it into a happy ending. So I know we mentioned during the break about the show Animal Hoarding. Some people have seen that, and you see, you know, happening on TV, like it happened in California, Oregon, and stuff. But you were telling me that it's even here, that there's some people that have it's usually like a chemical imbalance or something that they think they're helping the animals, that, you know, when they're hoarding. So do you have any stories that you've actually experienced some of this, that have seen?
Unfortunately, there's been several. One of the ones that really touched me the most was there was a lady, and she was several counties over, but she really did think she was helping these animals, and she lived in a trailer with no electricity, no running water, and she had over 300 cats and probably 80 dogs living on her property, and she couldn't care for them physically, and so we came in, and you literally have to talk them through surrendering these pets, because that's what keeps her in her mind. That's what she's supposed to be doing. So yeah, we took all of them, and it was it was quite an undertaking trying to catch them all. They all had very serious medical conditions, and she was able to leave that house she was living in, and she ended up in another house, but recently we've heard that she started it all over again. So I've kept in contact with her, and I go over every once in a while and try to take one or two from her. And
I mean, because you're doing, you know, you're actually helping, you're actually therapy for her, because obviously she thinks she's helping and stuff. So it's not like in that case of animal cruelty, it's like they're not like trying to be mean to an animal. It's just she thinks that she helps. So it's really good that you're really caring.
And people drop them off to her because they know she'll take them. So that's, you know,
they're, you know, that's kind of what happened. So move from that. From this one, this is actually really exciting, and it's kind of cool that I think the closing of what we can talk about is actually, you said about you're actually opening up, you're getting bigger, right?
We are.
So I really want to hear that, and I'm sure our viewers want to hear more about what you're explaining. What you're planning to do, expanding.
Well, we were donated a large piece of property in Freeport. We have almost 100 acres. And we know that we can't help every single animal, even though we would like to. Sometimes we have over 100 surrender calls a day come into the refuge. That many animals need a place to go in one single day. So if it's that many every day, that's 3,000 a month. There's just no way. We can't physically take that many. So the answer to that is obviously trying to stop that many animals from needing a place to go. So we want to really expand educational programs. We want to really expand the equine interaction program. We want to expand the dog training prison program, where they can come out and continue their training and meet the families there on site. You know, the school field trips, you know, the educational aspect behind all of that is just tremendous. And so we're very blessed to have this opportunity. We're going to make it almost like a zoo, but the unzoo. You know, we don't really approve of zoos in the animal welfare world. But if we can make it a place where you can learn. I see that you have a picture of a parrot back here. We have parrots that are surrendered to us all the time. And these giant macaws are just such majestic creatures, but they live to be 100.
People don't know that.
And they get passed around to 20 different owners, and they live in this little cage where they can't spread their wings, and they pick all their feathers out, and they really aren't supposed to be pets. You know, they were wild animals somewhere. So we want to make an exhibit to where you learn about that, and then we can have those animals, you know, living the rest of their life out in these large aviary enclosures. But so that's what we want to do. And we get a lot of calls of wild animals that need places to go, you know, bears that would otherwise be euthanized because they keep coming into neighborhoods or that kind of thing. So we do have plans in the future to expand to wild animals and give some animals that, you know, cannot be re-released into the wild a safe place to, you know, live out their lives.
Oh, that's a good idea. You know, there's a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people probably perked up with the bears because I noticed it's, I guess they're just breeding, there's more of them, or they're
We've just invaded their territory,
yeah.
and, you know, they're looking for food, and there's easy sources and trash cans, and so, you know, it's not their fault. So we want to try to, and that's another thing we can educate the public, you know, with that sort of how to not have them come into your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we have big plans for all of that. We're really excited about it.
That is exciting. So, Catherine, like for this new project that's going on, so how would you be like involved with that, or just everything?
I am probably going to be following Lori around nonstop, trying to pull every idea out of her head, and being able, between, you know, fundraising, like I said, the educational aspect of it, and just what I'd really like to see is just kind of like the progress report of what we're doing. Because right now, you know, we've got 250 animals on site. I mean, and that's a day-to-day number. I mean, that doesn't really change, and sometimes it could be more, it might be a little bit less, but if it's less, it's going to quickly jump back up. And being able to show people what we're doing, how we're going to use the facility. You know, Lori is a great visionary. I think most of the stuff on property, you know, we're able to kind of pick it up and take it and carry it over. But obviously there's going to be a lot of work that's going to have to be done, and you know, we want to keep the community informed of what our efforts are, you know, with the end goal of this being hands-on and educational site. It's a place where families can come learn, you know, kids can come and interact with animals, and you know, and adopt. And also we greatly appreciate people to volunteer. You know, we've got people that come in the mornings and the afternoons with the dog walkers, and that's 10 acres right now, and that's going to 100 acres. I mean, there's definitely going to be that need. So anybody who's greatly interested in that, and that's wanting to keep up these stories of different things that we get involved in, you know, we want the community to know about it, because there could be, it'll strike a chord with somebody from an emotional standpoint, going, I want to get involved, I want to be a part of Team Alaqua, and see what the future. So it's really exciting. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening.
Well, and then you know, we're fortunate to live in this wonderful community where so many people come to visit us. So if we can make this new facility a tourist attraction where we can really expand the message outside of this area, because animal cruelty and animal welfare issues, not, you know, just a local problem. And if we can do that, then we're really helping, you know, masses of animals.
And I like how you mentioned that. Like with tourists, lots of times when people, I do it too, when you're going on vacation, you just think about yourself.
Where to go.
But when you think about, hey, on vacation, I can actually go out to help somebody or whatever. So I think that's a different kind of twist, which I love.
So we're gonna offer some ways where people, if you want to start something like Alaqua in your community, you can come and intern at our facility and learn how to do the same in your own. So that's part of our mission as well.
We learned so much, and our time is actually up already. I can't believe it. I knew we needed more 13 minutes for the second half. But actually, so if someone wants to be involved, really quick, how could they be in contact with you?
AlaquaAnimalRefuge.org, Facebook. They can just, you know, put in the name, and we'll pop up. And again, we're open from 12 to 5 every day.
Yay.
And they can certainly come by, take a tour, and learn a lot more about us. Like I said, there's so much more to talk about. And
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, you heard they have a lot to talk about, a lot of things. So why don't you come out to Alaqua Animal Refuge and meet Lori and Catherine to learn all about it. I'm Valerie, and this is Insight.